Running at the deep end. Wow, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, wow. I thought you Londoners were a bit more, is it the weather that's drawn it out of you? Coming all the way down from Leeds. Anyway, I've got 4 minutes. I'm a child of the Windrush generation. And one of the things I would say in the Caribbean and in Africa, where our parents originate from, being involved in building your own house is the norm. It is absolutely the norm. And those ethnic minorities from other places will know the same thing. It's the norm. So very much about bottom up, community being involved in solving its problems, not waiting for the system to solve them for them. It was quite funny last night listening to the two up-and-coming potential leaders of the country talk about housing. You know, talking about building 1 million plus houses or whatever they want. There was not once mention of training and employment they could possibly give to young people. There was no mention of how they can use building them houses to engage the green agenda. Never mentioned. So to me, it's not just about building houses, it's these houses become homes, and they're homes for young people as well. So it's important that when we talk about building homes, we think about how young people are going to engage in that. And employment and training, like the project I did many years ago, and it is 30 years, it seems like a shorter time than that I've been banging this drum. So it's more about building homes than building housing. One of my big asks to even Homes England is to ring fence 5% of the annual housing budget to go to community-led projects. Ring fence it for the next 10 years and say to local authorities, they should also ring fence that money to go to community-led housing projects. And if there's a region in the country where that money is not spent, then it turns over to the next year. Or if this year you don't spend the full budget, you put that into main budget and you start with your next budget. So for me, it is really important that if there's going to be a housing revolution, that young people and local people are involved in that revolution. You know, it's not going to be done top down. It's only going to be made to work if it's bottom up. Community wealth building, housing is and we'll all know this, those of us who are lucky to own a house, that housing or your home is the foundation of you. It is where you leave every morning. It is where you go back to at night. So having a home is the foundation of everybody, and everybody should be entitled to have that same feeling. So, and a point I wanted to push, that I do believe that social housing should be part of the infrastructure budget of the country. Just like they have to build roads, they have to build hospitals, they have to build schools, social housing should be part of that budget. Housing for right to buy, that's a separate. Housing for profit, separate. Social housing should be an infrastructure component of society. I totally believe that. And with the work I'm doing with the Right to Build Task Force, and I'm also a Community Land Trust Ambassador, because I think land, that's another thing I wanted to mention. Again, in the Caribbean, in Africa, in other ethnic minority communities around the world, we talk about land first, then we talk about housing, or what we put on the land. In England, you talk about the house, whereas we need to be talking about land, and if communities can get hold of land, land can be multi-purpose used. It can have housing on that land, it can have a play scheme on that land, it could have a day centre for the elderly on the same land. So we need to move the conversation to talking about land as well as just housing, because housing doesn't work on its own. How long have I got? And finally, I like to say, yeah, as a community-led advisor, I get the honor now of going and speaking to people like yourself as a community land trust, but I'm also part of the cooperative movement 4 Million Homes program, which is, it said that there is 4 million social homes in, rented homes in Britain. And for any of you, do look up the 4 Million Homes program. It's about empowering residents. It's about giving residents the power to challenge their landlords, whether it's social housing, whether it's council housing, whether it's private housing. And I'll stop there. Good afternoon. Thank you.